Well, some detractors that will push back on me and say, you know, the only thing that the mayor talks about is the hiring of black people. No, what I'm saying is when you hire our people, we always look out for everybody else. We are the most generous people on the planet.
With such a statement, it makes you wonder what could go wrong if you say that.
I don't know too many cultures that have play cousins. That's how generous we are. We just make somebody a family member, right? This is how we are. And so business and economic neighborhood development, the deputy mayor is a black woman. Department of Planning and Development is a black woman. Infrastructure deputy mayor is a black woman. Chief operations officer is a black man. Budget director is a black woman. Senior advisor is a black man. And I'm laying that out because when you ask how do we ensure that our people get a chance to grow their business?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But just because you label somebody a play cousin, that doesn't really mean they're good at trying to be a cousin. You just made them a cousin because you need to help them to feel like a cousin.
Tonight, these stunning images from inside a New Orleans jail cell where 10 inmates, some charged with murder, escaped, sparking an urgent citywide manhunt. The toilet dislodged from a cell wall, exposing an opening. Scrawled on the wall above, "We innocent and too easy," with an arrow toward the hole where they escaped, out of view of the officer on duty.
The fact that they wrote that, I just think they're just living the dream. Prison Break Season 6. I mean, that's wild that you can just escape by pushing a toilet.
Come on, man. That's too easy.
Authorities say it happened just after midnight when the inmates broke a lock on a cell door.
They were still able to exit the jail about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind a toilet in the jail. And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall and running across the interstate.
Shouldn't you be able to have somebody working on the inside to be able to know exactly where you can run?
Officials believe the escapees had help.
I knew it! I'm a pattern recognition expert, man. I got one eye, but I see all.
Officials believe the escapees had help.
These detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department.
They say the toilet could not be removed with bare hands, suggesting someone inside the jail system may have helped the inmates unscrew it with a power tool.
We are investigating that to see exactly who entered these areas, what kind of work was done, if there was work being done, and if this is an inside job.
Jail officials first noticing the inmates were missing during a routine head count at 8:30 a.m.
Oh, come on! 8:30? They escaped at 1. For 7 hours, nobody checked? Bruh, that is 7 hours of bad stuff happening maybe to somebody and you don't know?
But that's more than 7 hours after they say the escapees were off prison property and on the run. One of the 10 escapees captured before noon found hiding beneath a car at a hotel in the French Quarter. And moments ago, a second suspect caught, with 8 more still on the run.
So ladies and gentlemen, that is the news. Let's focus on how people are really reacting.
He said you observed at 1 a.m.
So let's be clear. I said what we observed on the video through investigation. So yes, when they looked at the video this morning after the staff realized they were gone, my investigators found that at 1 a.m. that's what happened.
So no one was watching live video all night at the jail?
I won't say no one was watching live video.
Then how did nobody see them leaving the jail?
There are over 900 cameras.
How did nobody see them leaving the jail?
There are over 900 cameras.
No, it's just, how did no one see a massive jailbreak?
The why and how is part of the investigation. So we have interviewed, I think, all of our employees, and we are interviewing all of the residents of that particular pod as well. And then there's a lot of people that you've got to wade through.
Ladies and gentlemen, they were at the door. And I'm like, nobody is there? Nobody is listening? Live? or on camera? Nobody is checking for 8 hours? Bruh! I'm not trying to be condescending. It's just that how can you just disappear for so long and make people feel safe that you send to a prison? Adelo, remember to subscribe.
¿Por qué? Good afternoon, all. I am Major Stephanie Minter Gibson, and I oversee the Crime Victims Unit for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. Once I was notified about the escapees, I immediately gathered a team of experienced staff, and we started calling victims and survivors just to make sure that they are aware of what was going on and that they are safe. For the records that had no information, I immediately reached out to our partners. Partners such as NOPD Special Victims Unit, Detective Walton, who was very grateful in helping us, and she provided us with other information that we were able to call those families and help them as well.
And ladies and gentlemen, those glasses, don't let them distract you, because she has a gun right here. I'm not sure if it's effective, but don't get distracted.
Once we finished the first batch of victims, we started calling the second batch. And actually, the reason why I'm saying that is because I separated them. The chief from the DA's office, victims, Alison Morgarder, reached out to me, and we both were calling victims. What she had and I did not have, we shared information, and we both gathered all the information, and we made sure all victims were aware of what was going on. Most of the victims were very grateful for the calls. They graciously thanked us. We additionally sent our detectives to their homes for more safety measures, and that alone speak measures.
All I heard is empathy for victims. Which victims?
I strongly encourage all to educate the community on the importance of Vine Link. This is a free app that is listed online, and it is also a guide for victims and survivors to track offenders while they navigate the criminal justice system. The number for Vine is 1-800-277-7477. I'm sorry, it's 1-866-277-7477. We are located here on the third floor of the Sheriff's Office, and our contact number here is 504-827-6754, 504-202-9229. Thank you.
Look, you can come to your own conclusion, but from what I've known, there is a dress code. And one of them is, sunglasses and eyeglasses shall have conservatively colored frames and shall not be hung from uniform part when not in use. Well, which means I can use my eyeglasses because they are conservatively colored.
And so deep into history, you've taken us back to the 17th century. Yes. In that case, shouldn't everybody leave the property to the Khoisan, who are thought to be the native occupants of South Africa?
No, actually, Africa and South Africa, it belongs to the Bantu people. It belongs to the Ngunis. So it belongs to the people of Africa.
What about Tavy here?
We are not saying it doesn't belong here. Now that we are living together here, our perspective is that the land must go back to the chiefs, the traditional leaders, and the state. We are unapologetic about this. Mm-hmm. Land must be expropriated without compensation.
And what they're trying to do in South Africa also happened in Zimbabwe. And guess what?
Like I said, we hungry.
They did exactly the same thing in Zimbabwe, a land seizure, and a lot of white people were evicted. Zimbabwe was known as the breakfast of Africa because they produce so much maize, and now they have an issue. It started in 2000, and now in 2008, a third of Zimbabwe is dependent on food aid. I'm not saying you cannot get the land back, but you need to be able to maintain it if you evict the people that are helping you maintain it. You can't just hate a person just because they're winning.
Weeks ago was exposed to a group of, let's say, gay men having sex on the iPad, and how my son came about it was he forgot his laptop at home, and your teacher lent my son his personal iPad. Well, when my son was doing a project with some of the other kids in the classroom, all of a sudden they closed out a tab. There was a bunch of naked men sitting right there in front of my son. And then all the other kids that had seen this, hey, they were shocked. But what's crazy is that I haven't heard nothing since. I didn't get a response from our superintendent. I had a meeting with your guys' assistant.
I just find it hard to understand why you have that on your personal iPad at your school, as if you're taking care of my kids, but not far away you just want to swipe and look at something else. I'm not saying you're from any group. I just find it odd it was ready to play.
But nobody had the decency to make my son important enough to show up to that meeting in the morning to tell me why he was able to be exposed to this type of material. Now, I've heard about the situation that happened at your guys' high school, at North High School, with the teacher that was involved with sexually explicit material as well. To me, I don't care what team you bat for, but you guys got to quit putting all this stuff in front of these kids, all this sexual material, regardless if it's a flag or if it's them actually seeing the content on an electronic device that is in school. Now, I came to you guys last time arguing about security factors with the students about how they were roaming around. Now, dude, you guys literally I was told that you guys weren't going to inform the other parents in this classroom.
Because I know for a fact, if it was a man and he was hetero and it happened to a girl, you would get arrested.
You guys will not tell all the parents in the classroom that their kids were exposed to sexual explicit material. And I think that's weird. It's weird because how can you send out a text message about all these other things, but you can't tell parents that their kids were exposed to this? Now, my son, one of 6 kids.
Please finish your comment.
My son, one of 6 kids, was the only one to speak up about this and the only one to make it known. So now I ask y'all, what are y'all planning to do about this? How are y'all going to protect these children and hide this material from them? Because it's everywhere in this world right now, especially here. You guys got to protect these kids.
And the fact that I'm not allowed to tell other parents, I would be, oh man, that school is in trouble, at least with me.
Chapman says his son told him he stumbled upon inappropriate content in his 3rd grade classroom.
The teacher came over to see what was happening, and my son said that he got angry with him and said, you know, you're violating my personal privacy, and took the iPad from him.
The teacher eventually gave him a loaner laptop.
Made him very uncomfortable.
I reached out to the Minneapolis Public School District at 11 Wednesday morning trying to get answers. A few hours later, I followed up with a phone call. Then I reached back out to the district via email, asking questions like, how did this happen and what are you going to do to make sure it does not happen again? The district responded around 3:30 in the afternoon, saying MPS takes allegations like these seriously and will follow any relevant district protocols. Officials told me they are unable to answer my questions because of data privacy laws. I asked how the future of district policies is covered by data privacy laws, but they sent the original statement again, saying they cannot answer my questions because the allegations are under investigation.
Since I've been in touch with the school, I've received emails, you know, and we've gone over a care plan.
Chapman says the district moved his child to a different classroom.
I wish that the teacher would have gave him not his personal, but would have gave him that loaner laptop in the beginning.
Not only is the whole thing suspicious, but if I accidentally find something in your iPad and your response is, hey man, that's my human right, you shouldn't just look into stuff. I'm like, why the heck did you give the kid an iPad? Your personal iPad. It makes no sense.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde kush hash purple skunk criollo colombici jam jam. Turlo que ta verde ta welcome.